Welcome to the Political Matrix News. We have the sources, we have the truth from inside the Political Matrix. Hey, the Political Matrix News. This is Rob. That's Scott. He's Greg. It is the 17th of September. That makes it a Tuesday. 49 days from right now, 7 weeks from right now, we will be sitting at home watching television to see who becomes the next president of the United States. I kind of get choked up just even thinking about that.
No.
Importantly, I think one thing that we all should remember is today is Constitution Day. This is the day the Constitution of the United States was signed by Congress, establishing the United States of America. It is a big deal. It really is.
A big deal.
It's a very big deal.
Very big deal.
And I think that
the way it's been trivialized over the decades is even a bigger deal, I think.
Yeah.
there you go.
Right.
So
Killed.
I'm scared as hell that some other idiot is going to go pew-pew on Donald Trump sometime over the next 47 days. And I'm scared as hell that the Secret Service, despite what they say, is not going to be able to protect him. And I think I really believe that there is a personal bias on the part of this administration towards Donald Trump, evidenced the lawfare waged against him over the last year, evidenced by Mayorkas not getting off his ass and doing anything from the Department of Homeland Security. What they provided for him in Butler, with security they provided for Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, was comic. The fact that no one got a shot off on Sunday at the golf course is lucky. I think it's all it amounts to is luck. It could have gone if that guy had half a brain and stayed down in the weeds behind the fence line and then stood up when Trump was 50 yards away or less. We could be talking about a whole new world. And I've even got cynics that I know saying, Trump arranged for that to happen himself.
Oh, fuck. You guys.
That was the first word out. It's like, are you fucking high? That was the first word out of my mouth. And, I wouldn't put it past him. It's Trump. And I try not to go get politically vitriol. But, Scott, how'd you feel when people start trash talking like that?
Well, I immediately felt like that it was going to happen as soon as I heard about the shooting. I knew it was going to happen because they tried to say it when the first guy shot him, or actually did shoot him. So I'm not surprised at all. They it's exactly like at the debate. They never mentioned Trump. The only person that mentioned the assassination attempt was Trump, and you hear Kamala talking about how we have to everyone's got to moderate and be peaceful, and then literally almost the next breath out of her mouth, is carrying some conversation about how he's an awful person.
Right.
You can't sit there and demonize someone for years and not expect to see the things we're seeing right now. It is ridiculous how these people are manufacturing this stuff and then pretending to be surprised that it's happening. But I will tell you that the people that use the word gaslighting the most are the ones that are the professionals at it, because the Democratic Party is, not only do they use the word more than anyone, but they definitely have perfected its use over the decades.
Right.
No one gaslights. If gaslighting were an energy source, we'd be energy independent now just because of the Democrats.
I think that's probably pretty accurate. Greg, what about you? Let's go back to Sunday afternoon. It's only a couple of days ago. Yeah. Your memory should be relatively fresh, unless you were out all night at midnight basketball the night before.
I was at midnight crying about the Florida football Gators the night before, but
we'll talk about the politics of new coaches.
I was recovering over that when watching this Donald Trump thing and not believing my ears when I heard that they said they shot at him again, or they were going to shoot at him again, and there were gunshots in the area. I mean, it was just, how in the hell is he going to make it through a full term? I mean, at the rate that their security lapse, I mean, and I don't want to give anybody ideas, but if they haven't come up with the idea yet, they're a moron. I mean, these are only one guy, single lone wolves. What if 5 people show up? Oh, 10 people show up. He's toast. If there are
Well,
10 people showing up with 10 guns out there, I mean,
well,
the thing is,
well,
they're casing this place pretty good, and they're figuring out the weaknesses pretty good. And whether they are or not, the media is helping them expose the weeknesses very good by all this talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's just get real here. I mean, if it were actually a real serious shit and real serious people, it would have been a whole different story. The way the Secret Service, I mean, even one of the guys from Fox News, I know for everybody else, I watch Fox News, but Jared Chavez, he used to be a congressman, and
Right.
he's a talking head on Fox News. And he said that 2 of the people on the detail for Trump had failed their test twice to be Secret Service agents, but they passed on the 3rd time. I mean, he's not getting the cream of the crop. He's not even getting the crop. He's getting the rot of the crop. I mean, I mean, what the hell? I mean, seriously. I
well,
mean,
my only comment about bringing a platoon of people to come after him is that every person that you add to that, every armed person that you add to that team dramatically increases your probability of getting caught. And
oh yeah,
once you
sure.
and once you the alarm is set, they haul the target away. So there's
You're right. I
there's a lot of give
mean,
and take on that.
yeah, there's a lot of give and take on that. It's just,
But I do
it's just
believe,
scary as
but
hell.
I do believe what Rod alluded to earlier, or Rob alluded to earlier, which was that they have that there has to be people helping these guys, because this
Exactly. There's got to be
these
a
guys are
payroll.
coming out of nowhere, and having resources that are very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, just look at this. I mean, they have a 20-year-old kid who works at a nursing home who probably makes $10 an hour, having all this weaponry and all this stuff and all this calculations and all this technology and insight to know where to go. You have this here other guy who's more or less a homeless carpenter from Hawaii. He's not even a few miles away to drive. He has to fucking fly here for at least $1,500 to the States, and then he has to drive somewhere to, I mean, or if he's renting a car or has his own car or whatever, it's all going to cost money. And if he only has $300 in the bank, it doesn't fucking add up. I mean, somebody's paying for this shit. I mean, Iran? Who knows? I mean, it's kind of like the beepers that went off today in the Middle East. I mean, they're trying to figure out who did all that. I'm sure
Oh,
it was Israel.
fill everybody in on that, because I
Yeah,
think that is.
go ahead and jump subjects here real quick. I guess 1,000 beepers went off in a very beautiful, extremely well organized espionage attack against Hezbollah and Hamas, where people are, they're still using pagers and beepers in the Middle East. For all those who don't know, because they might listen on the phones and everything, so they page them on where to meet or where to go. And I guess 1,000 of them blew up and exploded on their hips while they're wearing them. I guess 11 people were killed. Unfortunately, one 4-year-old girl was killed because she's right next to the pager. So that's one unfortunate death. But the rest of them were all Hezbollah leaders and Hamas leaders. In fact, one of the guys was one of the guys from Iran. He had a pager, and it went off on him too. And so basically the whole idea is exposing to everybody that we know where you are. We know where you are. We got your number. Don't fuck around anymore.
I got to tell you, I put this 100% on the Israeli Mossad.
Brilliant.
They did it in the 90s. I believe it was the 90s, could have been the early 2000s. One of the honchos of the PLO, I do believe, but it could have been Hamas, could have been II. You lose track after a while. One of them had a cell phone, and that was kind of a new thing at the time, relatively new thing, so probably the 90s. And even though they pretty much had unlimited resources, and they could afford it, and they didn't have the tracking that they do now, pinging off towers. That's when these were huge, 5 watt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, completely can't use them today. They would melt the system. Okay, melt
Mm-hmm.
it. And the phone rings and goes, yes. And it was, I think it was the guy who was the head of the Mossad at the time. And he goes, hey, Abdul, it's Ben Gurion at the Mossad. What? Yeah, it's Ben Gurion. How you doing, man? Hey, by the way, goodbye. Kaboom. Blew it up. Took his head clean off. It's one of the classic, and the fact that that Mossad could do that with thousands of beepers,
Right.
and apparently had a very high success rate.
Yeah.
And yeah, thousands of them went off. Who had the other 900 and some? We don't know. We'll find out eventually.
Yeah.
But that is hellacious good operation. And guess what? Nobody leaked that to the press.
No, they didn't.
Nobody.
And also, but it goes back to the whole thing about payroll for these things. I mean, there's an obvious payroll for that. Now, I mean, we go back to the United States here with all these attempts on Trump. I mean, who's paying for this? I mean, you know, these are not random acts of violence. These are not random acts of lunacy, as everybody wants to see. These are not lone wolves. And no, this is not a conspiracy. This is what you call reality. Okay, these guys had to have knowledge and, you know, information, research. Everything costs money, fuckers. I mean, there's nothing free out there at all. There's nothing free.
Except this show. Except this very show. It's free.
Exactly. This show is free. And so, but I mean, that point being is that, I mean, George Soros needs to go ahead and, you know, come forward here and admit to this, probably.
Oh, good luck with it.
Yeah.
The way that the Soroses admit to things is that they put some cryptic little post that has photos in it that you decode and interpret into a way like memes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, between the whole idea that the Secret Service basically is sitting on their ass. I mean, and this is different to Secret Service than it was whenever you watch the movie The Bodyguard. You know, I mean, that was a whole. I mean, if anybody doesn't remember the movie Bodyguard, it was about a former Secret Service agent who was, you know, watching Whitney Houston. Anyway,
Kevin Costner guarding Whitney Houston. Yeah.
But anyway, my point being is that back then, I mean, you take one for the leader, you take one for the president. Yeah, you never ever let your client go down. Now it's just like, you know, where's he at? Where's Waldo? And I mean, it's really frustrating that you know, this is happening again. I'm worried between now and the next 40 some odd days of the election or before the election about happening again. I'm also worried about happening to Kamala because you know, a lot of the right wingers, MAGA people are gonna, you know, they could possibly react. I have no idea. I know a few of them are totally crazy.
Yeah, hopefully the right doesn't decide to do to the left what the left's been doing to the right, because the right's actually good at it.
Yeah, right. The right actually has pretty good hunters and everything else. I asked Dick Cheney and everything else. I mean, they actually know how to hit their targets to a degree. But unfortunately, I mean, I'm just worried. But back to the football. Yeah, go Gators.
Well, it
in the worst way.
Yeah, I could see that. I was thinking about the Secret Service, and the one thing that really reminded me when you talk about that, you know, Ronald Reagan did a bunch of movies before he became a honcho in the Actors Union, Screen Actors Guild, and then before he got into being a lobbyist for General Electric. One of the movies he did, and I'm scrolling through here, it's somewhere in the early 50s, early to mid 50s. Ronald Reagan actually played a Secret Service agent.
Wow.
And I thought that was fascinating, right? It's like, wow, the one guy who really will appreciate as president having Secret Service. And I'm scrolling as fast as I can to get through this. Well, it'll come up. It'll come up. And he was the lead character. And one of the kids who watched this movie ended up going to the Secret Service, and Jerry, who was the head of the Ronald Reagan, the personal detail, the body guys for Ronald Reagan, on the day that Reagan got shot, Jerry's the one that shoved him in the limo, checked him over, found the bullet hole, saw him coughing blood, and that was it. And that was it. And I'm scrolling here, and I'm not seeing the Secret Service movie, but that was the inspiration for young Jerry to join the Secret Service, was the Ronald Reagan movie. Now, what would be the good recruiting movie for the Secret Service? I'm going with the Keystone Cops. Because they're very, very underwhelming. They have all the technology in the world, all of it, and they were even smart enough to recognize the first political convention post 9/11 was the Democrats in Boston, and the Secret Service thought they could run a crowd through airport metal detectors to get everybody into the convention, and they only had 4 of them to start with. That was day one. The line was more than an hour long. And I had media, so I got through a separate line, but still was 15 minutes. Ridiculous.
Wow.
The next day, they brought in TSA from every airport within 100 miles, and everybody was inside in about 90 minutes. And the lines were at the most 15, 20 minutes long because the TSA knew how to do their job. And they were part of Homeland Security at that point, so it worked out. But they adapted, they overcame. And obviously we've had 2, 8, 16, 20, so another 10 or 12 conventions since then, and it all seems to work. I guess where I'm going with that is the drone technology is there. The technology using thermal scopes, binoculars that are thermal, where you can see a heat source through a screen, through a window, maybe through a wall, depending on the time of day, but certainly a warm body hiding in the weeds alongside a golf course. Any number of things would have spotted, but this case they got lucky. And as I've expressed to many people, in the Trump shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania, back in July, what happened? That was nothing but luck. A world-class marksman, the best shots in the world. If you had Trump standing still and you said, shoot the top of his right ear at 130 yards, I guarantee you the Secret Service sniper team and the FBI sniper team, they're all in the quarter club. And the quarter club is you take a U.S. quarter, you put that on the target at 100 or 200 yards, and they can put all 4 shots into that quarter, one after the other after the other. That's how good they are. None of them could have just zinged the top of someone's ear. So that is nothing but dead, dumb luck. And we should be very, very fortunate on this. I was trying to look up a Matt Gaetz story. Supposedly Matt did something today, but it went in my junk mail file. So Matt actually did something, but because he sent a letter to the White House demanding something. So how fast does that go in the shredder? Members of Congress send letters back and forth Capitol Hill to each other. They put them in envelopes. They put a stamp on them. They mail them. Well, actually, they got the franking privilege, but
they don't have stamps on them.
If Matt Gaetz is saying something, it's probably going to be read
to the other side of Capitol Hill, or maybe down the hall in whichever office building they're in. I don't know where that's coming from. But so we have nothing really nice or new to report about Matt Gaetz. Speaking of nice and new, I knew you were going to be going with this. This is the brand new The Political Matrix. Got to get there we go. Political Matrix News. How about that? And even the QR code even works right there.
Yes.
So you can always link up with us and watch any of these episodes. $29.95, boys and girls. $29.95 delivered. We got them. They're in stock. All that childhood labor out of Western China has finally come through and delivered all of that. And so that is you guys want one of these? I'll give you a better deal.
Well, thank you. Just go to politicalmatrixnews.com. And say, go
I want my MTV. I want my Mapo.
I want my MTV. I want my Tumblr.
Okay, I want my Tumblr.
Yeah, hit the contact button there and just contact us, and we'll we'll get one out to you.
We take Zelle. We take all sorts of stuff, don't we?
Yeah. I don't think we take any crypto, though.
Well, yeah, because we need
I don't
about
think we want to do crypto.
we need to sell about 8 or 10,000 of these to make us one Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin going for now, Scott? You're in the market, aren't you?
Was it 30,000 Bitcoin?
I can look at it a long time. It's
20,000, 30,000?
It's relative.
You remember the guy we worked with in Pensacola, shared the office with down the hall?
Oh, yeah.
And he was supposedly a contractor, a builder, never built a damn thing, but he BS the boss into hiring him for an extended period of time, and I still don't know what he ever did. But he bemoaned the fact that when Bitcoin first came out, he was using a laptop, and he got 100 Bitcoin for it was $100, right? And at the time, Bitcoin was banging. I don't know. This has been about 8 years ago, 6, 8 years ago. Yeah, it was time for the 2018 election, and I think Bitcoin was in the $16,000 to $20,000 range. And I was like, dude, where's the laptop? And he goes, I don't know. I said, you have 100 Bitcoin at 16,000 a share. Even I can do the math on that.
Yeah. Well, I got 5 Bitcoin on a phone that crashed.
Where's the phone?
Oh, it's probably the bottom of the Canby County Bay somewhere now.
That was dumb.
It's going to be a landfill. By the time Bitcoin was only like, $400 a coin.
Yeah.
In fact, Scott and I were actually working on a software program about Bitcoin with a guy in Pensacola.
Yeah, Bitcoin is $60,000 a coin now.
Wow.
And how many Bitcoins do you have there, Greggy, on your phone?
5.
Okay, 300 grand. You think that wouldn't change your life?
It'll do a start.
You could buy plenty of Ozempic, man. You'd be down to 130 pounds in no time at all.
Actually, it's a shot. You do it once a week, so it doesn't really hurt. You don't rush it.
Okay.
And a shot hurts. I'm a wimp. So
understood. All right. So thank you for liking the show. Those things get noticed. Sharing the show is even better. And subscribing is, of course, the very best of all. And thank you for joining us and taking the time to hang with us for a while. Your comments are always welcome. ThePoliticalMatrixNews.com, ThePoliticalMatrixNews.com. And you can leave a comment, love notes, whatever. Certainly, if there's you have any clues to know what the hell's going on and who are all these people trying to kill the president, I really would appreciate that.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, apparently the latest I got is that President Biden is getting daily shots for his dementia, aka Parkinson's, aka Alzheimer's, getting some sort of booster just to keep him functioning.
He's still the president?
He is still the president, and he is apparently 100% incontinent at this point as well. I only mention that just because it's part of the story.
Good for shits and grins, because that's the way the Democrats want to run the country.
Yeah, it really is. It's really sad. When we come back, we're going to talk Florida State football. We're going to talk Florida Gator football, and who the hell is going to be the grown-up that decides to take over those two programs?
Actually, DeSantis might have a big say-so on that.
There's absolutely no damn excuse. This is the Political Matrix News.